Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mondays with Mazur. God damn it. It is July 27th
or June,
whatever. What are we doing at this point? You were the captain's hat this weekend and you were out and about. What happened?
I was actually the captain. I was the captain of the ship. I was steering the ship just like Opie does.
What'd you do?
So it was my buddy's bachelor party, even though he's already married, which was just basically a guy's weekend in our good friend Hollywood Rob's area of Western Pennsylvania. So we were in the, didn't really get service, and it was just a lot of drinking, a lot of music, and going on the boat, fishing and stuff like that. I'm not a big fishing guy. I'm not a big camping guy, but it's not my party. So I had a pretty good time. It's all right. And then my wife's over in Indianapolis winning Emmys.
For like local TV shows?
Yeah, the local Emmys they have like a regional area of the country, and a bunch of different markets are a part of it. And she's in the Cleveland market, and ended up winning her first Emmy to date. So it was pretty cool. I wasn't there for it. Apparently, Mike Polk won several Emmys.
My former roommate.
Oh wait, hang on. We got a prop right now.
What do we got?
Bring out the Emmy.
That's the actual
right
Emmy.
Here. That's the Emmy, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And yeah, here it is, and has her name on it, which actually has the married name now. It's not hyphenated like a feminist, and it actually says Mazur on it. So I feel partially responsible for this Emmy right now.
You own it. You own
That's
it.
Right. Emmy Mondays with Mazur here.
And after you had Gino Bisconte on, like, you are in the media.
Exactly. Well, I mean, look, we take different paths here in life, and sometimes they work out in people's favor. My wife has stayed in TV for the past, 15 plus years, ends up winning an Emmy. And I decided to work in radio and have a friend who's a comic who drops N-bombs, and I get fired from my radio job. So you know what? Hey, we take different paths in this life.
So I'm hearing, Tony, I don't know if you know what I know, but I'm hearing Gino's getting jaw surgery today. Is that true?
So that was the rumor. I've heard this. I've been getting a couple of text messages and some Instagram messages from people saying, is it true that Gino's getting jaw surgery? Now, for folks who haven't heard in this universe, Gino got punched by Pat Dixon a week ago today. They've all heard it. Yeah. And the fallout from it was Gino had to take some time off. He had to go to the dentist. There was a couple of loose teeth. And then now, all of a sudden, over the weekend, I hear Gino can't do the show because he's needing jaw surgery. Like, whoa, that took a turn.
So what do you say? Like, how do you react to this?
Well, here's one thing that I did find that was interesting was, what was it, a month ago? We were talking about the Godfrey situation when Godfrey was on this very podcast, this very show.
For the record, he's very happy with Pat Dixon. I just want to let you know.
I was wondering that. So Godfrey was talking about how he would kick Gino's and Anthony Cumia's ass.
And we were part of this. We were all in this. They played the clip over and over.
It really was, with the captain's hats too. And which they didn't get the reference.
Yeah,
but,
I know,
okay.
Anthony, we're making fun of Opie, you cunt. Go ahead.
So Anthony's response was, I'm not fighting anybody. I'm in my 60s. And then you realize Gino's entering his mid 50s right now. So I don't know how old Pat is. I'm assuming like 45 probably, or somewhere in his 40s.
You tell me.
And Gino is one of those where, I mean, he's an alcoholic. He's not the biggest guy in the world. You're not talking about a guy. He's not Aaron Bird muscle level.
We're both the same size, 5'8".
So Pat goes into the Sullivans, punches Gino, and Gino is an alcoholic who's, a svelte Italian guy. And it's probably going to take him a lot longer than if it were 20 years ago, him saying that kind of stuff or dropping N-bombs. So his recovery period, think about if Godfrey hit him. Godfrey is in amazing shape. If Godfrey goes and beats G, he might kill him. if one punch from Pat Dixon is causing jaw surgery, what's going to happen if Godfrey hit him?
So what happens is Gino, like, he has to call the police at this point, right?
I don't know.
You don't just take it, right?
At this point, I mean, because Pat Dixon's done a lot of live streams. He did it with Rob Saul. He's done Instagram lives.
That'll
He's
help.
he's not remorseful.
By
He's
the way,
not really showing a lot of remorse here.
that's going to help doing a live stream with Rob Saul. That's going to like really get the word out about something.
Should go on Red Bar. But boy, what's going on over at Compound? All this stuff. I mean, you had the infighting. Apparently, Chrissy Mayer got engaged over the weekend.
Yes, I've tweeted. I got messages. That fucking dumb cunt.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
God bless. God bless.
I mean, they're killing it right now. I mean, they're just really, really owning this right-wing situation right now. No, I had to say something about that because I was just like, they doxed me. They fucking doxed me, Tony. Like, I have to say something, right?
Yeah, you had to. I mean, I didn't see what was the tweet. What was your response?
It was more or less congratulations to these comedians. What are their vows? Do you promise to dox and ruin comedians' lives? It was something along the lines of that, but it was just like it's just gross to me. It's just so gross to me, not you.
Yeah.
To me.
You know, it's kind of this big follow up with the podcast we did last week about the cancel culture, and it's just it's not stopping, and it's eating everybody else alive right now to the point where, you know, we talk about it with working in radio, and you know, I'm probably never going to work in radio again. You'll probably never work in radio again. No. But there was always that feeling, like in the back of your mind, a few years ago, you're like, can I give it one more shot? And that's when you realize you're like, no, if you have to think that. There's about no more shot. But then it gets to this point where, do you want to get on Compound Media ever again? I mean, is it really going to help your career? It's like, is any of this worth it? Like, what am I doing? Like, why am I putting out podcasts for people that are inevitably going to turn on me and dox me and everything like that? Or is it just because I'm so far into this universe that I got to keep putting out content? It's almost like I thought, hey, I'm going to get a real job, a blue collar job, and I'll get away from all this bullshit. Well, here I am. I have a blue collar job. And yet I'm even more into it now than I was before.
It's weird. It's like, it's word for like everything you said. Like, what do we do? I don't know. I have no clue. I'm doing this. I've been a comedian for 20 years at this point, and I'm in this weird world. And I don't know where to go. I have no clue because I don't want to conform to the Bert Kreischers. I don't want to conform to the Kevin Brennans. I just want to do my own thing. Like, I don't know. I have no idea where to go.
Well, that's the problem, is that doing podcasts on your own without having any kind of, not team, but like if you're part of a network, it's
team.
It works. It works in a way where, like when you were on Punch Drunk, that there's an opportunity for cross promotion for guests. If you're going to do something by yourself, you know, it's going to be a tougher road, I would think. But that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm not on any network. I produce my own podcasts. I host them. I book any guests that I've had on. I find the content. I have the subscriptions to my back end service and everything like that. I am the sole person behind my podcast. And as fun as that is, because I don't have to answer to, especially now, I don't have to answer to anybody. It is a much more difficult way of getting your name out there.
Right. No, you almost have to have some sort of weird influencer to like put you over. And I by the way, I know everybody that's famous, and no one's putting me over. It's just what it is. It's fine. I'll figure it out. But it'd be nice if like Tim Dillon retweeted one of my podcasts with you. It would be nice.
It'd be nice. Yeah. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do in this society? I mean, there was that time where it seemed like some comedians were together when they would have a Netflix special, or they'd say, hey, everybody, Nikki Glazer is one of my good friends, and she has a new special coming out this Friday called this and this, you know, go check it out. And it's like, okay, well, when I record my special, I hope that Nikki Glazer is going to return the favor. I've seen you do that for a long time, of people that say, hey, this person's a good friend of mine. They're really funny. You did that with, was it Mike Vecchione? Was that, you said his special was amazing?
Dude, Mike Vecchione told me to my face, he goes, dude, if it wasn't for you, his album, it's called The Untold Truth, and I stand behind it. It's one of the best comedy albums of all time. It's amazing. I told Bert Kreischer, I go, dude, you got to listen to this. It's amazing. Bert listened to it, played it for his wife, and then he tweeted out. Next thing you know, Rogan's tweeted out. It became the #1 album in the country because of me. because I just said, I was just like, it's funny. I don't care. Like, what? Mike's not going to get me anywhere. So I was just nice enough to like, okay, this is funny. Cool.
Yeah.
Where's this going to go? And it went number one.
That's the one thing, is that if you do something nice for somebody,
Just nice.
It's just being nice. You don't have to have a reciprocation where, hey, I congratulated so and so. Like, there are certain people who will do that, and we've talked about a lot of them. Like, I think Dave Landau is one of the. No matter what any compound fans talk about it, Dave Landau is a great guy. He's a great guy in person.
Amazing.
He's a
dude.
Great comic, and he's great doing shows. And he's also somebody who helps out his friends too.
And when Anthony does that, it bothers me because Dave is such a good person. And I'm not trying to like ruin Anthony's reputation, but Dave's a great guy, and he was lucky enough to have him, period.
Dave did a great job. You know what? Hey, you can be a compound fan. You can also appreciate what Dave did. Same with Aaron Berg. I mean, we've talked about this. Aaron Berg murders on stage. I mean, he is a machine gun. We've talked about, and one of the compliments I told him on when he did my podcast was, I said, you have an Attell-like feature to you, because you can do crowd work like the best of them. You also have good material, but you also know how to get a good rhythm. I mean, this is when you do 25 sets in one night. Beating Steve Burns' record is just being a machine gun. And you can't, as what I always say about someone like Aaron or Attell, is that when you get on stage and you're rattling off these jokes like a machine gun, you can't laugh too hard at some one joke, because you're going to miss the next 2 or 3 lines. And they're just as, if not funnier than that first line. So there are certain people that I don't care if I don't care if Aaron doesn't retweet my podcast or Dave Landau or anything. There are certain people that are just good comics and good people that you put it out there and you say, hey, this is really funny. This is a really good podcast. This is a really good comedy special. Go check it out.
I knew Dave when he was a drunk. Actually, when I did my WNIR at the, he came on my show. We hung out. So I was with Dave, and Dave did the radio show with me. So I've known Dave forever. Like, I love him. You
guys went to the titty bar with him, right?
I knew when Dave was by the way, Dave Landau is a drunk is fun as fuck to hang out with. Way too fun.
Really?
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah, amazing. Crazy.
I never, I think his final year of being sober, or final year of being drunk when he started his sobriety, was my first year of stand-up. So I think he's been sober for 8 years now. And yeah, I miss those days. I miss it with a lot of these comics that were legendary drunks on stage. Who are some other comics that you've worked with that are either clean now? Because I've asked Aaron Berg and I've asked Gino about this, because I'm like, you knew Aaron when he was a drunk. What would he do? And Aaron would say, yeah, I would go out and I would drink a bottle of red wine. I would do spots in the city. And then after that, it's another bottle of wine. Then it's finding cocaine and everything. And when you talk about some of the stories, you've worked with so many people. Have there been some of these comics that may have gotten clean now, but used to be like big time drunks like Dave Landau was?
No, I mean, Landau's the guy. I have no clue, because I never worked with Attell or Joe List or anybody. So I have no clue.
What about, what was his name? The guy who died. He was also part of that like Insomniac crew, that mid 2000s premium blend. Who am I thinking of?
Sean Rouse.
Yeah, I heard he was
never worked with him, so I have no clue. So I have no frame of reference. And Dane Cook is sober too, and I know Dane, so I don't know. I have no clue. There's no like frame of reference. I worked with Daniel Tosh when I was early, and Tosh never drank. He never did anything. So
yeah, because you hear all these stories about comics in the 80s that got paid, and they would always say they get paid in green or white. And then you had a lot of comics like John Fox. John Fox, I've heard so many drunken stories of him where he was flying to, I think there was one.
He's on the Funny Stop wall.
He is. He's on the dead wall. He's on the Funny Stop dead wall with Jay Medicine Hat. I think Screech is up there.
True story, Tony Mazur. John Fox said Last Call Cleveland, our old, we had a whole show. And it was, and he was on it. He did his stand-up, 5 minutes of stand-up on our show.
That's great. I mean, John Fox was one of those legendary drunks that you hear from old comics that would say, because I forgot who I talked to who featured for him. And he was flying into Hawaii, and the club owner said, look, we know what a drunk he is. make sure if you're going to get to the airport, get there about the same time.
Right.
But they were on different flights. And of course, John Fox flies in. He's there an hour early, and the feature act gets there an hour later. And John's already just passed out drunk at the bar. He was at the hotel, or I mean, at the airport bar. And they're like, this ain't going to be a good weekend. And then also John Fox and Otto from Otto and George were two people that it would be the week where they'd be like, look, comics are able to drink whatever they want. It's open bar, have whatever you want. Then after Otto and John Fox would be there, after that, the comics are like, we'll give you one drink, but you're not, this is a cash bar here. They completely cleaned out their top shelf liquor.
No, it gets out of hand. You have to shut it down. You have to shut it down.
Yeah, that's why, like, when I do stand up, I try to, like, when you go on stage, do you have a drink before? Like, have you gone through phases where you need a couple of drinks, you need no drinks, one shot? Like, what's your mantra? Do you need anything to get you going before you go on stage?
No, like, I was just in the Bahamas for 2 weeks and I was bored, literally bored. So I had more drinks than I should have. Like, so I just drank just to do something. It was boring. But no, I don't need anything to go on stage. I have no, like, I don't need that.
Because I went through phases with that myself, where when I started the first actually few years, I would have to have at least 2 drinks to go on stage. And it wasn't out of nervousness. It was more so that I can kind of loosen up a little bit, to the point, loosen up, kids. And I would be able to loosen up a little bit, where I could do a little more crowd work and not have any inhibitions. And then it got to a point where I felt like I was doing better when I wasn't drinking, and that I started experimenting. If I'm doing 2 shows, I wouldn't drink the first show, and then I would drink between the shows and see how I did. I would record the sets. And I realized, not just because it's tighter for that first show, but I just felt like I was way more on the ball. And then the second show, I was slurring, I was forgetting lines, I was forgetting setups and everything. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? So here's what I do. If I'm doing a bar gig, I'm going to get hammered before I go on stage. But if I'm doing an actual comedy club, I'm going to 1 drink or no drinks until the show's over is what I do. If I'm getting paid decent to do a club show, then I'm not going to really drink too much. But if I'm going to do a bar gig, like when I've done the ones with Ray DeVito, I'm getting hammered beforehand.
Ray DeVito.
Yep.
By the way, he sent me a text yesterday because the Clintons of comedy, who you're friends with, they are out of control. And Ray more or less said,
wait, I don't know who the Clintons of comedy are. Is that Chrissy and Frank?
Chrissy and Frank, who dox people and they fuck over people, period. So here's where I'm at with that, because they sent Ray a message saying that they're going to delete their Patreon to Ray because of me. I go, listen, Ray's a douchebag. I know, nice guy. I've known him for 20 years. I will never fuck up his income. I would never do that. I would never tell someone to delete your Patreon to Ray DeVito. Do whatever. Give all these comics the most money you've ever had, but I won't do that. So it's Chrissy and fucking Frank, period. That's from me. Rack me.
That's the Clintons of comedy. Yeah, for someone like Ray DeVito, and I look, we always talk about, we like Ray. Ray is Ray.
Ray's a nice guy.
It's what you deal with. Even though Ray's advice, by the way, recently, because he called, to his credit, he called me one time, but what, about two weeks ago, because he actually offered me a gig if I wanted to do it in Cincinnati, because we were in Cincinnati at the same time. But I'm like, I'm here on my anniversary. It's my anniversary trip. I'm not going to do that. But he offered. And so it was kind of cool of him. And he was asking me how I am. And he did tell me to kind of stay. He's like, for whatever reason, Gino hates me. And he's like, probably your best bet is to just kind of stay away from Gino. And I'm like, you know what? This is what sucks about it, is because I like all you guys. I mean, I like Gino, I like Ray, I like Pat Dixon, I like Chad, I like all these people. I hate doing this divide and conquer. Well, if you're friends with him, then you can't be on my podcast. Fine, if that's the case. Jesus Christ.
I want everyone to die. Is that rude?
Well, no, it's we are going to die at some point. Hopefully something quicker than others, though.
No, my thing is like, even I don't like Chrissy. I think she's fake and she's a phony, but don't like delete her. Like, I'm not trying to like ruin her career. Don't like whatever you like about her. Good, fine.
Don't dox Chrissy. Don't dox Chad. Don't dox anybody else.
But when you're trying to ruin someone's career, it's like, it's not cool, man. It's just not good. Even Gino's listen, I love Gino. Gino's a nice guy. I live with the fucking guy. I live with him for 6 months. He's a douchebag, but I think he fell in this weird thing and he had to do it. And now he's being ruined. And I don't agree that he got punched in the face. Even when Godfrey wanted to fight him, I thought it was funny, but I knew Godfrey's not going to go through with it. But now this is happening. I go, oh, it's not good. It's not good.
You think that could happen? That Godfrey's going to finally encounter Gino at like LOL or something? And
no, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, if he ran into Gino, he would say something, but he wouldn't fight him. He's like a nice guy. He's a good dude. But Gino is out of control too. Like, Gino is taking things like listen, I don't appreciate him getting jaw surgery, like what he's doing right now. That's not good. But when Pat, it's just a weird thing. It's like kind of like shut your mouth, but still you don't deserve it.
Rack me, rack you, rack all
rack
of us.
Me, rack all of us.
Speaking of, we gotta do a football podcast pretty soon. It's been a couple of weeks.
I'm all in.
We'll have to do it because of the Deshaun Watson situation with the Browns. That and again, I know this isn't the football podcast, but boy, is this a disaster for the Browns, though. I mean, this is so Cleveland Browns-esque. You get a guy, for folks who kind of know a little bit about this situation. So you had Deshaun Watson going to Yankee cranky shops and having upwards of between 20 and 60 something women
like
who were
Bill
accusing
Squire
him of that. Yeah, exactly. It's just so Deshaun Watson won't be performing at the Funny Bone anymore.
Youngstown.
So Deshaun Watson. So what they settled last week, they settled 20 of the 24 lawsuits that they had, which there's a possibility he gets suspended for an entire season right now. Also, you pissed off Baker Mayfield with the quarterback of the Browns. So what are you going to do? Boy, the Browns essentially bought Deshaun Watson. And I think Jimmy Haslam, with that money that they put in for that signing bonus and the guaranteed money, went to going to pay off these Yankee cranky girls. And I mean, look, I've never been to a massage place. I've never been one to get a hand job at any of those places. I usually, the only Asian massage places I go to are usually at the mall, and they just use their elbow for like 20 minutes. And then I pay them $25 and I go to FYE after that and see if they have any new vinyl. That's about it.
Hey-ho.
But like, this whole thing is a disaster for the Browns. And you and I are both Cleveland people at heart and Browns fans and everything. But this is just bad.
Gross. And strange. Like, what do you do at this point? Like, you live in the area. I don't.
Yeah.
But I can't support any of this. I can't. Like, the Guardians and Deshaun Watson, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, this sucks, man. I mean, you have think about this. Even if LeBron James, there's rumors that they're trying to bring him back to the Cavs. Yeah. So you say, so if you have LeBron James that comes back to the Cavs, who's nearing 40, then you have Deshaun Watson and then the Guardians.
He lives a half mile from your house.
That's right. I could almost see it just over the ridge.
LeBron lives a half mile. I've been to your place. You live a half mile from him.
It's so close. Yeah. And Jeffrey Dahmer, as we always say.
Sure.
And that's where his first murders were of like squirrels and kittens in the backyard. And but this is just Cleveland sports is a shit show right now. Yeah, the Guardians. Yeah, I'm actually going to a Guardians game in a couple of weeks, and I am wearing the most obnoxious Chief Wahoo stuff there.
Please. And take photos. What's your Instagram and Twitter? Like, what do you do? What's your run?
Yeah, I'll do Instagram. It's TMaze25, only because I couldn't get Tony Mazer on Twitter because somebody who takes pictures of goats, I'm not kidding, has the Tony Mazer account. So and then Tony Mazer, TonyMazur on Twitter, and patreon.com/Tony Mazer to hear my podcast. Check Your Brain, 4 podcasts per week. But yeah, I'm going to a Guardians game, and it's going to be one of those where I'm just going to be obnoxious. You can't wear headdresses and you can't wear red warrior paint there, but they haven't said anything about wearing like the biggest, most racist looking Sambo-esque Chief Wahoo that you can go to the games.
You have to do it. You have to. We have to fight back. Like, it's like, because we're getting beat up. Like, people are fighting us right now. We have to fight back. That's
what Joe Howard's been saying.
You just know how to poke. Tony Mazue knows how to just poke at people.
Yeah, Joe Howard has been one of those where he's still talking about how he's an Indians fan, not a Guardians fan, and he goes into this bit. I don't know if you heard it. There was a guy who used to play for the team named Ray Chap.
1,000,000 times. Jesus Christ! Were you there this weekend?
Was I where at the Funny Stop?
The Don Jameson shows.
I know, not the Mark Riccadonna, Don Jameson. I was not there. Was it the Heaven and Hell tour they were doing?
Who knows? But Joe was there doing his bullshit. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did he do the joke about the Jesus painting?
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been around this dude for like almost 15 years. Same act. So who knows? It's coming from me, by the way.
The week that all this stuff blew up and it was on, Gino was talking about it and Kevin was talking about my situation on Cumia. Joe heard everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, I heard everything that happened. That sucks, man. That Gino fucked you."
Would he text you or something?
No, I saw him in person. He was out having a cigarette and a non-alcoholic beer outside of Hilarities. That was at the Sam Tripoli show a few weeks ago.
Oh, so he knew.
Yep.
Yeah.
He knew.
He finally knew who you were.
Yeah, well, because I'm at some kind of status at that point.
Yeah,
that if I'm just a lowly local feature comic, he's not going to know who I am. But because my name was mentioned with the likes of Anthony Cumia and Kevin Brennan, then it's like, oh, he's got some kind of status now.
Yeah, now I can talk to you. Hilarious. By the way, Tony Mazue, I have to cut it off because I have to do a podcast at 5. So I don't want to distract you. I apologize.
That's okay. Do a quick one. Just make sure you send this to me when you get a chance.
Done deal. After this,
patreon.com/Tony Mazue. I've got my podcast. I'm going to start getting some guests on. Yes, indeed. We've got guests coming up. If you remember the group Green Jello from the 90s, Little Pig, Let Me In.
Wow.
3 Little Pigs. Remember that song?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to subscribe to your podcast though.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm experimenting. I'm like, do you guys want guests? Do you like my rantings? I didn't ask me anything, which Samuel Gonzalez said that I should go in and try to be one of the co-hosts of Who Are These Podcasts.
There you go. Tony Mazue, everybody. It's Check Your Brain. That's right.
It sure is.
All right. I'm the Z-Man, Florida's greatest. Good night. See ya. Woo!